Development, all about coding, all about how the beautiful websites are built. First of all, do let me know if my voice is clearly audible to all of you. You can drop me a thumbs up or any of your favorite emoticon so that I can know. Okay, all right. Okay, perfect, perfect. So, first of all, welcome everybody. Thank you for sparing your time out and attending this session. We will be starting the session in next 1 to 2 minutes. We are waiting for few more people to join, few more students to join. And till then, I just want to quickly introduce you with Pregrad. So Pregrad is an platform, and we conduct such webinar sessions with industry experts every Saturday and Sundays. So you can always attend one of the session. You can always find our session on any of our Instagram, any of our LinkedIn social media platform, basically. And also you can reach out directly to website and then connect with the session or event details. So that is it. We believe in kickstarting students' career as soon as possible. We believe in providing students valuable education and an education that is accessible to all of you. So without any further delay, let me introduce you to today's guest speaker, who will be Pratham Jain. So give me a sec. Yeah, who will be Pratham Jain and who has more than 4 years of experience of software engineering and is right now a software engineer at Genius. So a big round of applause and please do welcome Pratham Jain. Can we hear you, sir?
Yeah.
Can we have you, sir? Sorry.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes. You are audible completely.
So can we start, right?
Yes, sure, sir. Just give me a second. I'll give you the access to share your screen.
Yes.
All right. Yes, sir, with the session.
Cool. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah. So hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on front-end development. My name is Pratham Jain and I'm a front-end engineer in a startup called Genius. So today we'll be exploring the front-end side of web development. So basically, let's start with what is front-end development. Okay, so basically there are two types of development which we can do. It is front-end and the second one is back-end. So today we'll be focusing on the front-end technology. So as you can see in the slide, front-end technologies comprises of majorly three technologies, which are HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And then Angular and React.js are the external frameworks which we can use for enhancing our productivity. Okay, so let's go. Okay. So then what is front-end development? Basically, front-end development, the client side of web development is called the front-end development. Basically, there are two sides in the front-end development. One is client side and other is server side. So whatever things which we develop on the server side, it comes in the backend portion of web development. Okay, so front-end development is a crucial aspect of web development, focusing on creating the parts of website that user interact with. This involves designing and coding visual elements that users see. Okay, so essentially front-end developers bridge the gap between design and technology to create intuitive, engaging and functional user experiences. So when we talk about bringing websites to life, we mean making them not only visually appealing, but also interactive and responsive. It's about creating a web experience that feels smooth and natural to the user, whether they are browsing on a desktop, tablet, or smartphone. This feature is basically called responsiveness of a website. Like if you develop a website for, let's say, a desktop or a monitor, so it should not be like that. If when you use that website on the mobile phone or any smartphone, the website should be visually appealing on that device too. So one thing I want to just let you know that if you have any doubts, you guys can drop it in the chat box and or can raise your hands. Or at the end of the session, we will take all the doubts you have one by one. So you guys are okay with English, right? I don't need. Do I need to say in Hindi or English would be fine? Okay. Okay. Would you teach JavaScript today? No, we'll be covering only the basics today of what the front end development is and how you can get started in that. And at the end, I'll also give you a roadmap if you want to get started with front end development. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead. Okay. So front end development is all about the client side of web application. As I told you earlier, client side is the front end side, which you guys can see on the website when you browse any website. And the backend side and or the server side is the backend side, like whatever things you perform on the website, all the CRUD operations, create, read, update, and delete, or whatever database related operations are there, all those comes in the backend side, like whatever database related queries or cloud related services, all those things come in the server side or the backend side. So today we'll be focusing on front end only. So for front end development, there is basically three types of technologies which are basically required for creating any front end of a website. So it is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, so what there are three things in the front end development: visual elements, user interaction, and responsiveness. So visual elements are the layouts, colors, fonts, and images, whatever you see on the website. User interaction is how the user interact with the web page, like such as clicks, forms, submission, and navigation. And responsiveness is ensuring the website looks good and works well on various devices and screen sizes. So let's take an example. Imagine you visit a website where the layout is all messed up on your phone. That's a front-end issue. So our goal as a front-end developer is to prevent such issues and ensure a seamless user experience across all the devices. If a website is working fine on the desktop or monitor, it should work fine on the mobile devices too. So it's the job of front-end developer to make the website responsive. Okay. So then there are three building blocks of front-end development, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So let's break down the three core technologies that form the backend of front-end development. The first is HTML, which is hypertext markup language. So HTML is just like a skeleton of a web page. It provides the basic structure and content. Think of HTML as the building block of a web page. Example, the headings you see, the paragraphs, the links, the images, all those are embedded inside the HTML tags. So it is the basic skeleton of any website. Without HTML, you cannot create any web page. So it is the most necessary part of the front-end development and also the easiest one. So whenever you guys are starting your journey of front-end development, you can any day start it from HTML. It's the base. It's the basic and easiest thing you can ever learn, and also it's the most necessary thing. So the next comes the CSS, which is cascading style sheets. CSS is basically a file which contains all the styles which you are adding on a particular website. Okay, so when we were talking about responsiveness, so how do we achieve that responsiveness in a website? It's using CSS. Like we give various property, like if the device is mobile phone, so the width or height of a particular element should be this much. If its device is a desktop or monitor, the width or height of a particular element should be this much. All these things can be defined in CSS file, which is cascading style sheets. So CSS is what makes the web page looks good. Without if we remove CSS from any website, you will definitely not like the website and would not like to visit that website again. So CSS is the most important thing in a website after HTML. Like if CSS is not there, the website will not be visually appealing. So for beautifying a website or any web page, the most important thing is CSS. It is basically used for styling the HTML elements only. Like whenever you add a let's say you in a web page you are adding a heading in h1 tag. So what how will you style the h1 tag? How will you style that heading? Whether you what color you want, what style you want, whether it should be bold, it should be italic, what size it should be. All these things you can specify in the CSS file, right? So CSS allows us to add colors, fonts, layouts, designs, overall aesthetics to our web page. If you want to make your website responsive, you can specify all those width parameters, length parameters, everything, query parameters in the CSS file itself. Now next comes JavaScript. JavaScript basically brings the web page to life with interactivity. It allows us to create dynamic content such as interactive forms, animations, and real-time updates. Like if you, let's say you have created a website which has a heading, which has a form, and different types of elements, headings, forms, paragraphs, and images. And now what do you want to perform any action on the click of that? Let's say you have created a button on which you want the user to go to a new web page. So how will you do that? It is not possible in HTML or CSS. For that, you have to use JavaScript. JavaScript is the basic and most necessary thing of a web page after HTML and CSS. After using HTML and CSS, you have already created a web page which is looking good and visually appealing, and user can use it. But now how you want to, if you want to add interactivity with user, let's say if you want to create a static site which do nothing, just which only displays the information, let's say any portfolio page of yours only, whether you don't want to do anything, user just come on the website, he will scroll through a complete page and just nothing else. So in that case you don't need a JavaScript. But when you want the user to click, and on the click you want to do something, so for that, for writing the logic of that click, you need to use the JavaScript. Let's say there is a button, and on that button click you want to redirect user to some other page, so you have to write a JavaScript function for that. Like if the user clicks on a button, what do you want to do? So that what part of what do you want to do is done using the JavaScript. Okay, so if I tell you in a brief, it is basically HTML defines the structure, CSS handles the presentation, and JavaScript controls the behavior of the user. Together, these technologies enable us to create fully functional and visually appealing websites. So for example, you can think of HTML as the bones, CSS as the skin and makeup, and JavaScript as the muscles that make everything move and work together. So these three technologies make the front end complete. So now, is this enough? If you have just these three technologies, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, do you need anything else? What do you think? Any developer or anyone can make a website which is visually appealing through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is true only for the case when the website is not that much complex. Let's say you want to make a portfolio website where you want to just display some information, make a contact form, and that's it. So in that case, this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript would work fine, and you will create a good visually appealing website in that case. But what if you want to create a complex website which contains of sidebar, navigation? You want the routing means you want to go to different pages in the same website, like if you visit a website, let's say Amazon. On Amazon, you are on the, when you visit, you land on the front page where all products are listed there. But there you have different sections, like you can navigate to order section, you can navigate to settings section, you can search different product, you can search any single product and see information about it. These all are different routes. So for handling all these things, different routes, what is necessary is a framework. Okay, so it is beyond the basics. Like if you want to just learn the basics of front-end development, you are good to go with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But what if you want to explore something more, or deep dive into front-end technologies, or let's say for your placement perspective or for job perspective, only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is not enough. For that, you have to learn any framework and libraries. So now let's see what frameworks we have. Okay, so we basically power up your front-end journey with this framework. Now what this frameworks helps us in is pre-written code libraries and frameworks offer functionality and boilerplate code. You need not to write the same thing again and again. Let's say you have created a component in the front end side. What it does is it's a form which takes user information and submit it to backend or to server. Now let's say you want to use these things once again on another page of your website. So let's take example. Let's say you have a let's say you have a multi-user profile. Let's say many users are registering on your profile on your website. So for let's say for there are two users, user A and user B. So for user A, you have that form which is like contact form for user A. Okay, so when the any third user C will come on the website, visit user A profile, and if you want to contact user A, you will contact using that contact us form. Okay, so what if you want to use that same form on the user B side also? So what will you do? What will you do? Will you copy the code from this side to that side? So it is not possible, or it is actually it is possible, but it's not recommended way. You want to have the single component, like if you create a single component of form and you can use it multiple times in anywhere on your website. You need not to write the same code again and again, making the code base larger and larger. Basically what it does is it just slow your website. So for solving all those issues these frameworks came into picture. Vue.js, Angular.js, or React.js. So basically to enhance our productivity and code quality, we often use these frameworks and libraries. These are collections of pre-written codes that help us build application faster and more efficiently. So some popular ones are React.js, Angular.js, and Vue.js. So React.js is basically developed by Facebook. So React is a library building user interfaces, particularly single page applications. So for all the single page applications, that is generally done on React.js only. It allows us to create reusable UI components. As I said that if you want to use the same UI component on different parts of your web page, so for that reusable components, we can use React. Got it? And so as we talk about Angular is also a comprehensive framework developed by Google. Angular is used for building dynamic web page applications. It offers a complete solution with everything you need to build large scale applications. And Vue.js is not owned by any big company, but it's a progressive framework that is easy to integrate with other projects and libraries. So all these framework basically do is the same thing. That is, they make your development journey easy. It's nothing else. You can do your complete web development using HTML, CSS, and React. That's fine. But what if you want to build any huge complex website? So how will you keep writing the same code again and again, copy it multiple times? You will not do that. What if you want to do routing from one page to another page? Let's say you have a website which is called www.mywebsite.com, and you want to have multiple routes in it, like www.mywebsite.com/home/contact us/projects. So for routing also you will need these libraries or these frameworks. So these are the basic building blocks. You need to learn these frameworks if you want to excel in front-end development, or if you want to deep dive into it. These are the most necessary things. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is the most important thing. But if you want to just boost your journey or go in this field for it, if you're considering front-end development as a job or anything, so you need to learn any framework. React, JavaScript, React, Angular, or Vue, all these are just frameworks. The difference between any of the framework is the syntax only. The basic thing which any of this framework do is same, making life of developer easy. Just the difference is syntax. Let's say you learn any of one. Let's say you learn React. Now, if you want to switch to Angular in your company, it's just easy. You just need to see what's the difference in the syntax, nothing else. So you can learn any of one framework, whether it is Vue.js, whether it is Angular.js, or it is React.js. It's as per you. My recommendation is, if you want to start, you can start using React.js as it is user friendly or beginner friendly. So you can easily learn it. But the prerequisite is you need to have good grasp on JavaScript before learning or going into any of these three technologies. So JavaScript is a must for learning these things. So for summarizing, frameworks and libraries provide a foundation and set of guidelines that help streamline the development process. They also basically help in maintaining code consistency and usability, which is crucial for large projects. For large projects, you will not be writing same code again and again at multiple places. So for that, the code usability or code reusability is the most important thing in that case. So you need to learn this frameworks. So let's say, for example, if you are building a complex web application with multiple interactive elements, using React can save you a lot of time and effort compared to writing all the JavaScript code from scratch. Like if you, let's say if you want to write a button, if you want to add a button to your website, and you are writing it through JavaScript, writing functions, writing on click, like what will happen when you click it. So it's a very time consuming process. If you use React, you get predefined templates and everything. So you just need just use to directly import the function, use that button anywhere you want, and all the logic is rewritten behind the scenes. You need not to write everything from the scratch. So that is the type of flexibility you get when you use these types of tools or frameworks. So basically, as you progress in your front-end journey, you will definitely encounter this framework and libraries now or later. So these are just pre-written collections of code that provide useful functionalities and boilerplate code. Okay. So let's say you are building a house. You could create every brick, nail, and piece of wood from scratch. Or you could use prefabricated components, frameworks, and libraries. So what would you do? Would you make wood from scratch? Would you make nails from scratch? Would you make cement from scratch? What would you want to do? Basically, you would just buy all these things from the market and just mix it and make a website. This is what would you do, right? So this same thing is in this front end development also. Would you like to write everything, each and every component from scratch, or would you want to just use the components or pre-written libraries and just work on it? Obviously you would want to use those pre-written libraries and work on it because it is easy to use, and also it saves time, and also it makes the code base much easier to read and much easier to write. So uh, while it's crucial to understand the core technologies first, familiarizing yourself with these frameworks can greatly enhance your capabilities as a front-end developer and make you more attractive to potential employees. Let's say if you learn only HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it's good to go. You are good to go. But what makes you a good front-end developer is learning these frameworks and technologies, which makes your work easy. In the job, no one would want you to write a piece of code which you are taking time of, let's say 1 week or 2 week, which could be written in just 1 hour or 2 hour using the pre-written components or libraries. So anyone would want you to save the time and use those libraries. Now those libraries or frameworks are mostly optimized, so you will not see performance drop in that. So it's great and it's must to learn these frameworks and libraries to become a good front-end engineer. Now let's talk about different tools of the trade. So for a developer, making its development journey easy, or making, let's say, your development process easy, you need to use different code editors or developer tools for your ease of writing code. Let's say the first you can see is code editor. So what is basically code editor for the front-end developer? So you all must have encountered Visual Studio Code or Sublime Text in your development journey. I'm assuming you are all college undergrads, first to fourth year students. So you must have used Visual Studio Code or Sublime Text while your development, whether it is C++ or Java or anything, JavaScript, anything you would have used Visual Studio Code or Sublime Text. So it is what we use also. So what it helps is syntax highlighting, code completion, and debugging features. So by syntax highlighting, I mean that when you're writing any HTML tags or any React components or CSS, so you would not write, let's say, paragraph p tag. You would open the angle brackets, write p tag. You would close that, write slash and angle brackets slash p tag. You will not do this, obviously, because it takes a lot of time of closing and opening brackets and all that stuff. So what code editors helps is it automatically does all these things. It highlights syntax. It gives you any debugging features, like if you have written wrong syntax or anything like that, it would highlight that. Code completion, let's say you are writing any for loop in JavaScript, so you would write FO, and it would automatically give you suggestion of completing the for loop and all that stuff. So code editors are a very important part of front-end development tool for any development, not just front-end development, for back-end tool and for front-end tool. And developer tools, there are different built-in browser tools inspecting elements. Like if you have tried inspecting any website, if you right click on it and inspect any website, so by that way you can inspecting elements are also very important part of web development, which is in built-in browser tool. You don't need to download or do anything. It is just built in. I'll show you this inspecting thing also. And debugging code and analyzing performance, example Chrome DevTools or Firefox DevTools. In Chrome's we have DevTools, and Firefox also we have DevTools, which are used to inspect or see any console logs or anything CSS styles or anything of a web page. So all those things you can see in the Chrome DevTools, which is available like just right clicking and going on the inspect tab. Right. So these are the different tools which you can use for your front end journey. So now coming on the responsive design. So in today's multi-device world, responsive design isn't just nice to have feature, it's absolutely essential features. But what exactly is responsive design? So responsive design is an approach to web design that ensures website adapt their layout and functionality to different screen sizes. Whether user is on a desktop, tablet, or a smartphone, the website should provide an optimal viewing and interaction experience. Okay, so it should not be like that the website is looking good on your monitor or your PC, but it's looking totally bad on the mobile device. It should not be like that. The website should be visually appearing on the devices, whether it is mobile phone, tablet, or laptop. So it's the most important thing. So basically, responsive design comes with 3 points. It's adaptability, user experience, and SEO. So adaptability responsive designs means your website looks and works well on desktop, tablets, and smartphones. User experience, it's a responsive website provides a better user experience, which can lead to higher engagement and satisfaction. Basically, when you're a front-end engineer, you are any product or any service, you are the front facing of the company, right? Your website or your product is the front facing for your user. Your user will directly interact with your website. So if it's not good, your front end is not good, or your design is not good, or the interaction between the user and the website is not good, user will definitely not like your product, whatever it is and how good it is. It should be a flawless experience for any user, right? If you are going on Flipkart or Amazon to order anything and the website is so much laggy, you are not seeing things properly, the design is not good, or let's say the website is crashing again and again, website is very slow, so you would definitely not want to order from Amazon. You would go to Flipkart if it's working well any day. So it is a deciding factor for you to purchase, right? So it's the most important thing. The user and the website has to be completely flawless. Whatever the backend can be slow, it is once feasible, right? The user will handle that. But what if the website itself is not responsive? It's crashing again and again. It's too laggy. So all those things are very important for a front-end developer, and it is what the industry is demanding. Good front-end developers, and it's a totally high-paying job because we need front-end developers, right? Because the user need to interact with the website, and websites needs to be very responsive and good. So responsive design basically involves using flexible layouts, media queries, and CSS, flexible images to ensure that your website adjusts seamlessly to different screen sizes. So this is very essential, not just for the aesthetics, but also for functionality and accessibility. So implementing this responsive design and everything can be done using the various CSS libraries or JavaScript. So it is very easy. So think about how frustrating it is when you visit a website on your phone and have to zoom in and zoom out to read the content. Got it? Let's say you are visiting any website which has some, let's say your course content, and you have to zoom in and zoom out everywhere. So it's not responsive. Like if you visit it on your desktop or laptop, it's totally good. You don't have to zoom in or zoom out. But when you use it on your phone, you have to zoom in and zoom out to read the content. A responsive design basically eliminates this frustration, making a website easily navigable on any device. Got it? So it has to be visually appealing on all devices, and it should adapt as per the device. And secondly, let's say talk about SEO, which is search engine optimization. So search engines like Google actually penalize their website that are not mobile friendly in their search rankings. So if you want your website to be found, it needs to be responsive. That's why also front-end developers are always in the hype in the market because of the SEO also. Let's say if your website is not responsive and your user it's not responsive on the website, what Google will do it will penalize your website. Let's say if you want to search your website on the Google, the search result will not show your website as it is not responsive and not appealing for the user. So definitely for that reason, your website needs to be responsive, and for that you need to be a good front-end developer and learn all those things, media queries, flex system, and different CSS libraries for implementing flexibility or responsiveness in your website. So it is done using media queries and flexible images, all that stuff. So as you develop your front-end skills, mastering responsive design will be key to creating successful and user-friendly websites. Okay, so okay. So to wrap up, the front-end development is all about creating engaging, responsive, and visually appealing website by mastering HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, leveraging frameworks and libraries, and using the right tools. You can build amazing web pages and experiences. So now just let me show you how a website looks if you just eliminate the CSS part from it. Just a moment. I'll show you the Amazon website itself. Just a minute. So here you can see this is Amazon.in. This is Amazon website, and this is how this website is looking as of now, with all HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and everything. Now, if you want to explore any website, you can just inspect it. Just let me share my complete screen. Just a minute. My screen is visible, right? Okay. So just let me show you on the on any website. If you want to see what elements it is using or whatever it is using, what you can do is just right click on any website, go to inspect tab. So these are the different tags which are attached on a website. As you can see, the basic thing on which the Amazon is made is HTML. It is on any website you can see it. It is a basic building block of any website. We have div tag. If you go down, let's say this thing. This is your H2 tag, which is heading to your home and style. Your home and style. Everything is written in div tags, H2 tags. These all are HTML things basically. HTML tags, and these are the styles applied on it, like display, padding bottom, overflow, text overflow. If you remove these styles, the website would be useless, or it would not be visually appealing. Now I would show you, like if you remove all the just a minute. If you remove all the CSS from the website, how it would look to you. Now see this. This is the same Amazon.com website. After you have removed each and every CSS from the website. This is how the website looks if you remove the CSS. Is it visually appealing? No, this is no width and height fixed of any image. Everything would become just below one another. This is how the website looks. See this image, how it is coming. See this list, see this layout. No styles on any text. This is how the website looks when you disable all the CSS from the website. Therefore, CSS is very important part of website. It is totally as important as JavaScript is. So if you want to use any website or if you want to learn web development, CSS part is also very important. Now see, this is after adding all the CSS. It looks neat and clean, right? So basically that's why CSS is very important. Okay, so now I'll show you, just a minute. Now I'll show you the roadmap if you want to get started with front-end development. Uh, is my screen visible? Can you guys just drop a thumbs up if it is visible? Cool. Cool, cool. Okay. Okay. So when you want to getting started with front-end technologies, the most important thing which you have to start is learning the basics, like how the internet works, what is HTTP request, what is domain name, what is hosting, how DNS, what is DNS and how it works, browsers and how it works. These are the basic theoretical knowledge which you need to have in order to learn the front-end development, right? These things are the questions which usually get asked in the interview also. So if you know it, it's a totally a add-on. So I'll just recommend you to learn these things also, which is how the internet works. You should know how the internet works, how the requests go from the front end or the client side to the server side to the back end. It's totally important thing. If you go any website, if you do any clicks or anything, what happens is the request goes to the backend server. It fetches the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for that page, returns it to your browser, and in that way, your web page gets loaded in your browser, and you are shown that web page. So this is how the process works. Like whenever you click on, let's say I click on this thing, what is happened? This thing appeared. How it appeared? As I clicked on it, a request was sent to backend server. Key that the user wants information about this internet thing. Then the backend goes to the DB, it is search in the DB, and from the DB it provides the data to again to the front end side. And front end, what it does on front end you get displayed with this information. So this is a complete cycle which happens when you click on any element and the request goes to backend. This is for the case when the data is available on the backend and want to display on the front end. Not for every case. Okay. For let's say if I go to this AI roadmaps, so here I need to search anything. So now this requests are getting to the backend and you are getting shown all these things. Okay. So this is a very important thing of how the internet works. You should know how the internet works and how the requests are sent. What is the HTTP thing? HTTP request. Because every request which gets out from the front end to the back end is using HTTP only. So you should know what is HTTP. What is domain name? Like the domain name is roadmap.sh of this website. So you should that is called domain name. What is hosting? Where your websites are hosted? It is called the place is called host provider. And you have to host your website in order to be accessible to anyone in the world. Like if you're using Amazon.com, Amazon.com website is hosted on any server or cloud. So from there you are getting the website. DNS and how it works. DNS is basically a dictionary for all the IP addresses. Like each website has a unique IP address, and a unique IP address is linked to a unique domain name. So that dictionary is called DNS, domain name system. Browsers and how they work. Different browsers work in different way. Like Chrome works in different way. Mozilla works in different way. So you should know how the browsers are work. Okay. So after learning these basics, you can directly move on to HTML part. As I said, it is the most important thing, and it's the most first thing which you need to start learning in order to learn the web development or front end development. In HTML, you can start learning the basics, writing semantic HTML, forms and validation, accessibility, how forms are written, how the requests are sent, semantic HTML, what is semantic HTML and how it is written, basics, all the basic tags. Okay. After that, you can start learning CSS. In CSS, there are basically three things, as I said. Basics, like how you can assign the font size and different things. What is making layouts. You need to arrange things in a maybe arrange things in different column wise ways, so that are layout. If you want one image this side, one image that side, you want rows. So all these things are like you are making layouts. Responsive design, as I told you, the website should be working on all the devices in a working manner, good manner. It should not be like working on desktop but not working on mobile. Fine. So it should be responsive for all the device types. So talking about okay, just let me take the Yeah, I'll reply to each and every one of you. Just give me a minute. Just let me complete this thing. This thing also. After that, we'll get started. Just give me 10 minutes more. Then I'll answer all your queries. Right. So yeah. So this SEO basics. SEO basics is basically what you need to do on the front end side. What tags which you need to use in order to get listed or in order to get ranked on the Google services. Right. So these are the SEO things. So it's not the most important thing which you need to learn in order to get started. It could be learned at the end also. So you can leave this thing as of now. Right. So we are done with CSS. Right. So the next most important thing which you need to learn in order, which is JavaScript. JavaScript is necessary for learning any of the framework like React.js, Vue.js, AngularJS. So it is the most important thing. So in JavaScript, what you need to learn is learn the basics, learn DOM manipulation, how a API is fetched. If you and on the front end, how you are doing the API calls and everything, and how you are doing the API calls, you are fetching the data and all those things. So JavaScript is the most important thing in that way. Okay, so Java, you need to learn JavaScript. You can just get started with learning any basics of JavaScript, and you can get started. You can refer to W3 schools or any website like that. So what comes? So these three things comprise of basic front end development. You would be good to go for creating any basic website using these things only. So if you are not going ahead or not picking up any framework, it's totally good. You can use these three things and make any website, right? But if you need to go deep dive into front end development or make good website, responsive websites, you need to learn a framework, right? So before framework, one more thing which is important is version control system, which is Git. So I guess you people are aware of what Git is. So Git is basically a version control system. It's a remote repository where all your code is hosted, or where you store all your code. Your all code changes are there. So basically, Git is important, not for a single developer. As I'm into, if you are making a project, so not important in that case. But when you go in any company, for that case, Git is very important. You need to learn it. VCS hosting is same thing. These three are different platforms which uses Git technology to host different projects, right? So if you learn Git, you're automatically good to go with GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket. You can use any service provider as per you. I recommend you can use GitHub. It's easy to use. So now what is package managers? Package managers are basically how would you install different libraries or framework in your project. So for that, we have different package manager. The most famous is NPM, which is Node Package Manager. Let's say if you want to use any library, so how would you install it? Using NPM, Node Package Manager. So using NPM or Node Package Manager, you can install any of third-party library or packages in your website. Okay. So next is picking a framework. As I told you, the three most famous framework are React.js, Vue.js, and AngularJS. You can pick any of your choice. All three are same, and just the difference between all three are the syntax difference. So if you are starting as a beginner, I would recommend you can start using React.js. So it's the easiest one among all of them, and it's famous also. You would definitely get a job using React. So after picking up a framework, writing CSS. So what I told you is CSS is important, but for making writing CSS more comfortable or more easy, there are different libraries like Tailwind, MUI. It is not listed here, but Tailwind, MUI, ShadCN, Chakra UI. These are different types of libraries which helps you in writing CSS better, or uh, which basically makes your task easier. So now all these things, CSS architecture, CSS preprocessor, build tools, testing, authentication strategy, web security basics, all these things are very advanced things which you need to learn when you get into a job. After getting into a job, but for getting you placed, only this much things are more than enough. If you learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, get good at Git, learn any Git version control system. Let's go with GitHub. Know what is NPM is, pick a framework, learn CS, learn React, and that's it. You are good to go. With this much, you can create a pretty good project. CSS preprocessor, build tools, testing, all these things, web components, type checker, server-side rendering, GraphQL, PWAs, desktop apps. All these things are very advanced stuff. If you don't learn it as of now, it's totally fine. Nobody would ask you in your interviews, all these things when you are fresher. It would be asked when you are experienced, but as of now, you would not be asked these things. So you are good to go with this much things, and you would be a great front end developer. So okay, now let's pick your questions. Now you guys can drop in your questions if you have anything you need to ask anything. You can drop your questions. I'll start answering your previous questions. So would you teach JavaScript today? No, I'll be telling you only the front end basics, what it is, how would you get started. So no JavaScript for today. And so just here. Uh, which web server is right to do is right? Which web server is right to do it with HTML, CSS, Flask? Didn't got your question. Web server, I didn't tell you anything about web server, right? So what's next? Framework and library, what the difference is? Okay. Okay, nice question. Just a minute. So basically, a framework, let's say React.js is a framework. Okay, it's not a library. It give you complete structure of your project. If you want to start a project, you can start using a framework, not with a library. So React.js is a framework, and what the additional thing you install in your project is all are the libraries. You can assume it as React.js is the body, and all the clothes you wear on it are the libraries, and React.js is the body. Okay, so basically, framework is a set of pre-written code that provides a structure for developing software, and library, on the other hand, is a collection of pre-written code that can be used to perform specific tasks. It's not a structure or a platform. Got it? What is SEO basics? SEO basics are basically, if I tell you in a short way, it's basically are the tags which we put on the top of a website, like the meta tags. If you go and search meta tags on the Google, meta tags HTML, it are basically are the tags which are used, which the Google search engines indexes while crawling through the all the website when you search a keyword, right? So it is the first thing which the Google indexes or find for indexing a website. So for learning SEO basics, you can get started with meta tags. What is the extension you had used for removing styles, and what styles are used? Okay, so extension. So that extension was called Web Developer. You can search it on Google. Web Developer Chrome extension. You can use it to remove CSS styles from any website. Web is asking, I am learning Spring currently. How may I get internship? Okay. So Spring, if you are learning Spring, so Spring is a part of backend development. Okay, so Spring is just similar to Node.js. So I would ask you to just go and make few projects based on Spring, few front end projects, few back end projects. You can make a, if you are learning Spring, then I'm assuming you are learning back end development currently. So you can make a full stack project using front end and back end, and in that case you can just add that project on GitHub. You can deploy it somewhere and on a particular domain and put it in your resume. It just make your resume much more better. Sir, is virtual internships is helpful? Can I add offer letter and certification in LinkedIn or resume? Virtual internships are, I won't say helpful, but if you have done any proper task which is related to development, so in that case you can assume it to be helpful. If not, you have done any course only, nothing else in your internship, it's not that great. You should have done some development sort of thing, and definitely you can add it in your LinkedIn or resume. It's up to you. Virtual internship important. You can, if you are, let's say you are completely free now and you are not getting any off campus or offline internship, you can definitely go with virtual internship. It's great. XAMPP server is better for HTML, CSS and Flask or not? To please suggest me some other web server. So XAMPP is Great, but XAMPP is basically used for backend deployment. I would not ask you to deploy your front-end websites on XAMPP. So basically, if you want to deploy your front-end websites or HTML, CSS, or Flask code, you could use Netlify, which is a free tool, Netlify or Vercel. Any of the two tools you can use, Netlify or Vercel, both are great. So you can use any one of them. Better code editor than VS Code. Uh, if not VS Code is the best. I must say VS Code is the best IDE for web development, because it has pretty much great support for front-end developers, back-end developers, or be it any development. So VS Code is best. But if you don't want to use VS Code, you can use Sublime. You can use a new uh, IDE which is coming, which is called ZED. Z. You can use that too, similar to VS Code. Tell us best free platform where we can learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can start getting your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript journey using W3 Schools. It's a great website. Let me show you guys. A minute. See this. You can just go to this website called w3schools.com. Here you have different tabs: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SQL, Python, Java, PHP. You can you can learn anything. Just click on HTML, and these are the all the topics you can learn in HTML. Just click on any topic, let's say heading. You will get an example of it, how it is done, all the tags, definition, and if you want to try out, you can try also on their playground. So same way you can learn CSS, same way you can learn JavaScript. This website is pretty great for if you want to get started in your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript journey. So I can suggest you this. You can go for W3 Schools, definitely. Uh, Sir, there is no placement in my college. What should I do? Just start making projects, making good projects. Just start making good projects and go for it. Make good projects, host it on GitHub, make your resume stronger, apply to the jobs off campus by visiting their career site. That is the best way I can suggest you right now. Approach different people on LinkedIn with your resume, with your projects, and ask for referral. You would definitely get something. How much time I require to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? When I do it consistently, I want to start from scratch. Okay, so let's say if you are dedicating 1 or 2 hours daily, so you can complete your HTML in a week or so. CSS can be done in 15 days, and JavaScript I would ask you to spend around 1 month, 1 month for it to just get started with the basics. So if you spend 1 hour daily also, then 2 months are good to go for HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And for learning the framework like React, you should be taking around 1 or 2 months more, depends on your speed. But yeah. Do companies hire if we only learn front end, as AI is totally develop a complete website nowadays? Yeah, definitely. Companies, many of the big companies, if you ask about Google also, they also have they are also hiring front end engineers as of now. So be it any company, like I am working in a product based company, be it service based or product based, all good product based companies are hiring front end developers. So it's not like there's no job. You can get a very good job in a front end if you become a good front end developer. So yeah, definitely. AI can write a lot of code, right? I got your point. But how AI will fix your bugs? How AI will it's not that good for the front end side. It can uh, it it can do pretty much thing, but it will never be able to replace developers, right? So don't go in that direction that AI will take your job. It's not like that. So just go and learn any development, be it front end or back end. You will get a good job. IBM Cloud, and what about PHP? Like, see, IBM Cloud is a cloud service provider for hosting your EC2 instances or anything. EC2 is an AWS, but on IBM Cloud, I have not used it. But IBM Cloud is a pretty niche technology. Limited companies use it. If you want to learn cloud, you can get started using AWS or Azure. AWS is Amazon Web Services, and Azure is Microsoft Azure. And what about PHP? PHP is a good technology, but it's not front end based. It's basically a replacement for JavaScript, but JavaScript isn't pretty much hype right now. So I would suggest you to not go with PHP if you're not started. You can start learning JavaScript, it's pretty great, and it is in hype also. So according to AI, is web development is a saturated field? Is it beneficial to learn the MERN stack in the upcoming AI world? See, if you want to become a full stack developer, then learning front end is most necessary thing. Like, you would not be able to understand backend systems if you are not good at front end. You need to know how the API calls are made, how the data is transferred from backend to front end. All these are basic things. So you need to learn front end, and back end and front end both are equally important in any company or any product based company or service based company too. You need to know both of the things if you want to become full stack. Now it's your choice if you want to go in back end development or front end development. Both fields have great scope now also and in the next 10 years too. So you can learn anything. MERN stack. And what is MERN stack basically? It's MongoDB, ExpressJS, React, Next.js. Sorry, Node.js. Yeah. So MERN stack also consists of React. So if you want to learn MERN stack, you have to learn React. And if you want to learn React, you need to learn JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. So that's the chronology. How to make a good project? Uh, Good project. It depends. You need not to make the saturated things like the to-do notes or clone of any website. Just make a good usable project which can be used by public, and you are solving any problem, specific problem. So that's a good project in which you are using a full stack is a good project. If a front end project you are making, just make sure to integrate API calls on your front end. It's just make your projects much better. After making a project, put it on GitHub, host it on any website like Wordle or Netlify, as I said. So it puts impression on the interviewer, right? Can you show again the website you earlier did for learning HTML? I'll just put the link in the chat box only. Just give me a minute. So this is the website w3schools.com. You can start using it, or you can refer any YouTube tutorials too if you want. I'm learning Spring currently. How may I get internship? Answered. Where and how to start making projects and what kind of projects? So from where and how, the first question is, first you need to learn all the technologies and all the stuff related to front end development or back end development, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and learn any framework like React JS. After that, you can start making any project, whatever you want. You can start by making your portfolio website, like just give everything details about you, what you are doing, which year are you, list all your projects, make all your project, add all your project links, GitHub links, LinkedIn link. So just make up your portfolio website as a starting. You can make an e-commerce store if you want. Yeah. Is it important to do a hackathon? It depends on you. If you are getting exposure of a hackathon, it's pretty great. It's not necessary, but if you are doing, it's great. Can you suggest a website where we can compete with others by building real-time website that boosts our skills? There's no website as such for competing on the front end side by building real-time websites. There's nothing like that. It's basically, if you want to compete, just compete on GitHub, make good websites, make it live. By that way, you can make website. Should I make more than one project? Definitely. In your resume, you should at least add 2 to 3 projects. So for practicing, you can make as many projects as you like. You would not learn anything in one project. How much time is required to learn front end development? uh, it's subjective. Let's say if you want to just learn the basics only, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then 1 to 2 months is more than enough for that. It would be totally great if you spend 1 to 2 months for learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and next 2 to 3 months for learning React JS, right? So it's around 3 to 5 months are at least required for learning front end completely. For completely, by me I means only HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React. It's a unlimited process, like, right? If you want to get deep dive into it, learn SEO and architecture things, optimization things, you would keep learning it by making different projects and working. But if you want to just get started with basic front end, 3 to 5 months are sufficient, right? So yeah. Can you suggest some project ideas which I will add in resume? Project ideas, you can start using a portfolio website. As I said, portfolio website is a must. Not must, but if you are having it, it's pretty great. You can flex it, or you can put it in your resume, your portfolio website. You can make an e-commerce store, and you can make your blog website where users can publish different types of blogs. Yeah. Is Java better or Python? Both are great. It depends on different situations. Does the certificate we get here give more weightage to our resume? Yeah, definitely. If you have different types of certificate in your resume, it's great. I'm planning to do masters in AI in UK. Is it good to go? Yeah, I will not versus data science. Yeah, if you want to pursue data science, so sorry, AI and ML, it's up to you. It's great. It's a booming field, so you can go ahead. And easy projects to put on resume. Yeah. So three projects. One first is portfolio website. Just make a portfolio website. List all your projects in that. Post it on any website and put it in your resume. First is portfolio website. Second is if you want, you can make a URL shortener website. It's a pretty techy thing, but you can make a URL shortener project. You can make a full stack e-commerce website, which is using front end and back end too. Or you and thirdly, you can use price tracker or say stock market price or crypto price tracker project, something sort of that, where you can use any API of any exchange and display prices of that stock or that coin on your website real time. It's a great project. You can use price tracker website, or you can name it anything. Just go on any website, or let's say CoinGecko is a website. CoinGecko, it provides free API for fetching the prices. So you can fetch prices and show the prices on your website in real time. That's a great project. E-commerce store, I told you. Portfolio website, I told you three things, and a blog website, four things. Yeah, good to go. How to upload a website on the internet? Okay, good question. So after you make your website, after you make your project, it's in on your local system. You are running it on a local host, right? So what you can do is you can first upload it to a Git service provider version control system. You can use GitHub for that. You can upload your project to GitHub. After that, if you want to host it for free, you can use any of the services which I told you already, like Vercel or Netlify. You can use any of them. Just connect Vercel or Netlify with your GitHub, your repository, connect with your repository, and your project will directly be listed on the. You will get a domain name of yours own, and in that way you can host your website on the internet. Shall I start learning from Coursera? Yeah, you can start from anywhere you want. Coursera is also great. So please elaborate our projects. I mean, from where and how and more on this. See, for building projects, you need to first start getting started with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and React.js. The first step is this. So first learn all these things. And when you start learning these things, right, from any YouTube video or any course, you would be provided with some projects in that also. The teacher or mentor will already help you in making projects in that course itself. After that, just think about what you want to make. Portfolio, let's say portfolio website. So just create a new project and start making project step by step, like adding tags, adding your libraries, React, what you want to do. First plan it. In that way you can start making your website. After that you can upload it to GitHub, then to Vercel or Netlify for hosting it. Should the partition certification be attached to the resume? Yeah, you can attach it. WordPress is a good tool, but I would not suggest you to use it, as it is basically drag and drop thing. You can make website by dragging and dropping elements. You would not run anything in WordPress. So I would suggest to not go in that direction. Instead, make your websites by your own. It is a great thing. So